Welcome to another Chainlink update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. And in this video, I actually want to talk about the long-term and short-term potential of Chainlink. Now, before I do that, you have to know that Bitcoin dominance is still going up, and I'm going to talk about this very soon. And yeah, Bitcoin dominance is going up, but it is not breaking the lower high structure, which is good. And we could get rejected very soon, but that has not happened yet. Now let's continue with Chainlink. I know Bitcoin dominance is boring, but I'm going to talk about it anyways, but I'm going to talk about it later in this video. And let's go on the monthly chart, because what's happening right now is still looking very bullish in my opinion. So what's happening on the monthly chart? Well, for this I wanted to look at what happened in the previous cycle first. So in the previous cycle we formed the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup. This formed a first wave move. Then in the bear market we formed an ABC structure, which was a second wave move down. Also, I keep getting questions of why did Chainlink not get a new cycle high in November like many altcoins did in the previous cycle? Well, that's because Chainlink already had 5 waves up, so there was no need for another cycle high right here. Now, of course, this could have turned into an overextended B wave. Some altcoins did do that, but we did not really need to do that, and like I said, Chainlink already had 5 waves up, so if our market was over for Chainlink at that point, so it did not really need another cycle high. And yeah, this ABC structure looks very good. The second wave move down is obviously in, and right now we are working on the third wave of this 1-2 setup that we have on the chart. Now, of course, to complete this third wave move to the upside, we will need like a couple of decades, maybe like 16 years or so. And when I said that in my previous videos, when I said that the third wave of this 1-2 setup is going to take like 16 to 20 years, people called me out for it, saying that it does not make sense. Well, it does make sense, and let me explain why. So let's say Bitcoin continues to go on with its 4-year cycle. Well, if that happens, then in this cycle, we should top by November of 2025, and we should get 5 waves up, which will complete the first wave of the main third wave move to the upside. Well, in the next bear market, which should end by, let's say, 2027, we should get an ABC structure of a second wave of the third wave right here, and the third wave of the third wave should top by 2029. Now, what does that mean? Well, if we top in 2029 in the third wave of the third wave, this means the fourth wave move down will also be an ABC structure, and that's going to take another 2 years or so to bottom, maybe 1 year. And that means that in 2033 we might finally finish the fifth wave of the third wave. And I know that's not 16 to 20 years, but you have to keep in mind that maybe Bitcoin will finally break its 4-year cycle theory, and maybe it's gonna take like 6 to 8 years to complete a Bitcoin cycle rather than 4 years like it's doing right now. Now, I'm not saying that that will happen, but it is a possibility, and you have to be aware of that. We have not had a left translated peak, at least not yet, but at some point it is going to happen, and you have to be prepared for that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go Google it, because it's easier to understand that way. Now, let me talk about these 5 waves that we need in this cycle. So, like I said, these are the 5 waves of the first wave of the main third wave up here. And to complete these 5 waves, first we need to actually go to the third wave targets of this 1-2 setup. The third wave target of this 1-2 setup is the 200% extension of the 1-2 setup, and that is at $105. I know that sounds crazy, but it is what it is, and keep in mind that's the bare minimum, which means that the third wave could overextend to the 2.272 extension, or maybe the 2618, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So yeah, somewhere between $105 and $160 should be a good target for the third wave move. Now, I'm expecting the third wave up here to top by May of 2025. And why am I saying that? Well, because it happened in the previous cycle. And why did it happen in the previous cycle? Because there's a thing that people say in crypto. It's sell in May and go away. And why do they say that? Well, because the altcoin market does not usually do that well during the summer. And that's because people just don't care about crypto during the summer. People are out, they're at the beach, they're drinking beers, and yeah, they don't really care about the charts. So yeah, that's when the altcoins go down, usually. Of course, maybe that's not gonna happen in this cycle, but it's probably going to happen. So you can expect a fourth wave move down in June and maybe July, and then the fifth wave move should top by, let's say, August to maybe even September of 2025. However, keep in mind, there is also the possibility that we never get a fifth wave move. There are some altcoins, I don't really want to name any of them, but there are some altcoins that did not really form 5 waves up in the previous cycle, and Chainlink is not an example, but I could show you, how it would look like. So, for example, there are some altcoins that went up in a 1, 2, 3 setup, and then after we got the fourth wave move down, the altcoins never really managed to get above the third wave high right here. And this means that it was only a third wave move up instead of a 5 wave move up because, we never broke above the previous third wave highs. And yeah, some altcoins just went straight into the bear market after that. They never broke above the previous all-time highs. And I'm not saying that it will happen with Chainlink, but it is a possibility and you never know what happens. Now, if we get to the 200% extension in the third wave, then the next target for the fifth wave should be at about $160. I know, from where we're at right now, that does not seem too crazy, but keep in mind, that's still like a 6x from where we're at right now, which is still a lot, and also, if you bought down here, when Chainlink was in the second wave move down, I'm pretty sure you would be pretty happy with a, about 1,500% return on investment. But if you bought at like $20, I mean, that's still good, but it's obviously not as good as, if you bought down here. Now, I did tell you when we were down here that it is possible for Chainlink to get a move to the upside, an impulsive move to the upside, because we are working on the third wave right now, and it did happen, but this move is not really that impulsive, at least not yet. But keep in mind, the move that we have right now on the chart will only be the first wave of the main third wave move. Now, what does that mean? Well, after getting the second wave move down right here, we formed a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup. The fourth wave move down, as you can see, reacted to the bull market support band. And right now we are working on the fifth wave. The target for the fifth wave is, let's say, somewhere between $35 and $41. And after we complete these 5 waves, I will be able to confirm that the main second wave to the downside is actually in, and that the first wave of the main third wave move is also in. And after we get to these levels, you can expect an ABC structure to the downside, which will be a second wave of the main third wave. And then what follows after that is a third wave of the third wave, which should put us at new all-time highs. Well, it could put us at all-time highs, and it needs to put us at all-time highs. So yeah, I'm expecting Chainlink to break all-time highs very, very soon, but we'll see if that happens or not. As I told you many, many times, whatever happens with Bitcoin dominance right now, you need to look at the chart and, you need to realize that in every single cycle we had a huge Bitcoin dominance drop, but we actually had that Bitcoin dominance drop in March. And I'm not gonna say that it is going to just go sideways until March, but it is possible that it does happen because, here, for example, in 2021, it also went sideways until March, and in 2017, it also went sideways until March. However, this theory does not really work because in this cycle, the Bitcoin halving actually happened like 2 months before, it did in the previous cycle, so it happened 2 months in advance. If that plays any role in Bitcoin dominance going down, we should also go down 2 months earlier than we did in the previous cycle, which means that right now we should start going down on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Keep in mind, I'm still expecting it to drop to about 40% in 2025 and let's say by the end of 2026. And the altcoin market is obviously going to do very, very well in 2025, at least judging this by what happened in the previous 2 cycles. And I know many people are FUDing Chainlink right now, saying that it's not going to get to all-time highs anymore. But, if you look at the chart and if you zoom out, as you can see, it's still looking very, very good. And it's obviously going to get to all-time highs if Bitcoin dominance starts dropping. When Bitcoin dominance dropped like 6% in November, Chainlink went from like $10 all the way up to like $31. So we have nothing to worry about right now. We are still above the bull market support band. The green line of the bull market support band is still above the red line. and it's still going up. So this is obviously very, very good, and it's only a matter of time until we start going up again and until Bitcoin dominance starts dropping. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our Discord server where we post multiple updates a day. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.